What is up, y'all? Jed here today, and in this video we're going to make some leather knives, very useful in the event of cutting leather. Here's both pieces that we're going to use. These are D2, 1/8 inch thick. This should hold up really well for the tools that we're going to make, and it's not necessarily easy to sharpen, but maybe it'll go further until it needs sharpening again. We're just going to blue them up a little bit so we can see our scratch lines. We got this all drawn out, and we're just going to pick these points off of here to figure out where to center punch a few holes and to draw some circles. Oh yeah. Got these two blades roughed out. Now I'm going to wrap them in this stainless foil, and this keeps them from carburizing, scaling up, and it'll keep them a lot cleaner after we get them out of heat treat. So this is mild steel, and it'll sit in here and get so hot it'll scale up, and eventually this thing will break into nothing because it'll do this every time it gets heated. So that's why we have to wrap the knives in foil so the oxygen can't get to them. Ooh, doggy. It's burnt.
Are you
Leather.
You okay?
Yeah,
Was it supposed to do that?
So we got this block here with these tapped holes mounted on this magnetic sign plate. It's cocked up on about 2.5 degrees, I think. And I've got this bolt in here. It's got one of those nuts on the bottom side of here with those plastic inserts so it won't unscrew. And we're going to attempt to grind this bevel on here something like that. So we're going to start with a rough grit. This is a 60 grit ceramic belt. Start off with that and then work our way up through the grits. We got all 4 of our copper bolsters cut out. We've got the holes transferred. One's a 1/4 inch hole, the other one's an 1/8 inch hole. And this one we've got a pin in there, which is just a countersink. And I'm going to mill the ends of them off until they're even. And then at least on these I'm going to cock them up on either cock them up and cut a 45 on them, or take this 45 cutter, cut a 45 degree bevel on them so we can dovetail the handle on them. I don't think I left enough material on these because that 45 will get in this hole, so you may just leave these straight on this one. We've got all the handles prepped, got all our pins, hardware cut, got our blades taped off. And you can see that line there. That's where I dry fitted these bolsters on, and I took some Select brand petroleum jelly with a Q-tip and rubbed around the edge, so when the squeeze out from the epoxy gets on the blade, it won't stick. After it dries, we can just pop the glue off. So everything's been assembled beforehand, so we know it's gonna go together like it should. We set the camera up and we can glue all this together. We got both of these buffed up, and now it's time to etch the logo. Here's this one. That copper really shines when it's buffed up. So it's time now to make sheaths for these two knives, and on both of these they have a mosaic pin and a brass pin for the bolster, and they have a micarta pin and a flared copper tube on both of the handles. This one here I have sharpened, the other one I have not, and usually I wait to sharpen the knives after the sheath just so I don't cut myself while I make the sheath. But it only seems fitting to use this knife to make the sheaths for these two, and after I make the sheath for this one, I will sharpen it up as well. I've been using a lot of this brown micarta on some knives just because I got a few chunks of it for free, so it's hard not to use it. This one is fairly similar to these other two. I use red liners. Lighting's not too great in here, but the red really makes the handle pop out if you look along the spine of the blade. These are called round knives. Well, this one's called a round knife, or sometimes it is called a head knife, or a saddle maker's knife, and there's probably other names for it too. And this one's called a half round knife because it's kind of half of this one. And I can see where these would come in handy. Before this, I have been using just a razor blade, and it does good. But it seems like these kind of carry it to the next level. You can kind of maneuver around. The technique for these is you can press it down in the leather, and you can kind of move the knife around if you want to. You can also skive with these, which is, you know, kind of going in at an angle, or you can just kind of roll it over. And I do this some for maybe short pieces. For example, this little tip on the snap for the sheath, if I lay out a spot, I can just go in there and cut it like that. Alright guys, you may have noticed in a lot of this video I was wearing sleeves, and then the other part of the video I was not wearing sleeves. That's because this project has been a long time coming. Been working on it for, I'm embarrassed to say, but probably over a year now. I finally got these things done. I've actually had them since that last clip for about 3 months maybe. So I've been using them, trying to figure out how much I like them, how much I've been using them. I've used this one some, but I've mainly been using this one, and you can tell they've already tarnished a lot. And the only problem I've had is the mosaic pin came out, like the inside piece separated from that brass ring. I don't know if I got it too hot grinding on it or what the deal was, but the epoxy came loose, and I super glued it. That's what all that nasty mess is, and shoved it back down in there, and it's in there now, but I need to take it and grind that back down flush sometime. I've used it a lot since then. I had a strop of leather, just a chunk of leather that I had rubbed some polish and compound on that I would strop these up with, but somehow I cut it up and threw it away on accident. So I gotta make a new strop. But besides that, these are some pretty cool tools. Stay tuned for some glamour shots with Deb. Thanks for watching, guys.